Well, hello everyone. It is Bulletproof Monday, and I want to acknowledge you for being here. You're either watching this live. I do Bulletproof Monday every Monday at 2 Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or wherever you are all over the world. Maybe you're watching this after, you saw it in a post somewhere. Either way, I am so happy you're here. I have a question for you. Have you ever maybe, seen someone who just seems to be like getting all the good breaks, maybe advancing in their career, they got some kind of promotion, they found their soulmate, whatever, they suddenly look incredible, and you're like, why them? And why not me? There's a lot of talk about things like the law of attraction and, setting your intention and that focus. And sometimes it can be a little daunting. Like, does it work? Is it real? What is it all about? And that's what we're going to talk about today. The law of attraction, how to use it, how to activate it in your life, where it came from, and all that good stuff. So my name is Susan Sly. I am a tech investor, a speaker, an author, and a certified coach. And on Monday, it's my day to really contribute and give back to all of you. And this is a question I have been asked a lot, so I'm here to serve, and I want to acknowledge people who are here live. There's beautiful, my friend Gina, who I'm going to see in only 4 days, and Nina, there's Karen and Lauren. It's great to have you guys. Hey, Laura. Hey, Wendy from Canada. Where in Canada are you? It's great. As a fellow Canadian, I live in the US now, but am Canadian. And wherever you are, hey, Miriam, good morning. Wherever you are in the world, it's just great to have you here. So a quick announcement before we get into it today is only 4 days, my signature event. It's a brand new event. It's coming up next week on April 25th to 28th. And, I've probably spent, I don't know, maybe, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars attending events, and then, really speaking at events and all of that good stuff. And I created an event that I would want to attend myself. And really what it is, it's a mixture of strategy and mindset, especially in the online marketing space. So I have people like Kieran O'Brien. He's an Instagram influencer coming to train you on all the tips and techniques to monetize Instagram, even if your budget is zero. I have Dennis Yu coming. Dennis is an amazing Facebook expert. He's the person who's called by CNN and Fox. Just incredible person. JJ Burden from the NFL is going to talk about mindset. I just found out that Scott Martineau, who's one of the co-founders of Keep, he's coming on Friday. And I have to keep changing the agenda because as people are hearing about the event, we have these amazing speakers. It is going to be incredible. If you are looking for one of the last tickets, it's only4days.com. Check it out. It's the number 4. All right, with that, let's get into it. So I always take notes and then I send the notes out. So if you're on my list on susansly.com, you can get the notes. And with regard to the law of attraction, I think, as I was sharing last week, it's a topic that people really, they think, oh, okay, well, is it something, is it an airy-fairy kind of thing? Is it like, what is it? And here's the thing I want to say to you is we are activating the law of attraction all the time, whether we're consciously doing it or not. So where did it come from? And today I thought it was interesting because today, if you're watching this live, if you're on YouTube, this already happened. If you're listening to the podcast, it already happened. But if you're here live, Monday, April 15th, there's a few things. Number 1, it is the beginning of Holy Week. Number 2, it is the 6th anniversary of the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. So I was there, and it, is just a very interesting day all around. It's very sad. Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is actually on fire right now as I'm recording this. And how many of you have been there to Notre Dame? I have on a couple of occasions, and it's just if you've never been there, when you walk in, there's just this incredible feeling, when you think this cathedral was built in 1100, and there's all of these almost 1,000 years of prayers all in this one building. So my heart and my prayers go out to the people in the city of Paris and all of the first responders who are there, and such an interesting day all around. So let's talk about this. So when we're we hear things like get a vision board, or if you just wear these crystals, all this good stuff's going to happen to you. And the reality is that vision boards, affirmations, all of those other things, all they are anchors to a good feeling, an emotion that you attach to an intention, and whatever you focus on expands. And so you think about it that, even in my office right now, I have 3 vision boards I'm looking at, and something on one of the vision boards is actually happening. I have I have to read what it says. We enjoy our 6-night stay in Tel Aviv. And we just are actually now going on a trip to Tel Aviv. And I've been looking at this for about 6 months. And I had originally put this trip on my vision board, didn't know when it was going to happen or how it was going to happen. But every time I looked at it, it's this beautiful beach scene in Tel Aviv. Every time I looked at it, I just felt this amazing warm feeling. And it was every time I looked at it, I got excited. Think about these positive emotions. And so my husband's 50th birthday is coming up. I cannot even believe it. I've known him since I was 13 and he was 16. So you can only imagine. And I was looking at destinations, and originally we were going to go to Ireland. He's a massive Game of Thrones fan, and I don't know how many of you saw Game of Thrones last night. I was watching it, and so I spent hours and hours planning this Game of Thrones 50th birthday. And I have friends who live in the UK, and I also have some vendors in the UK. They're like, Susan, I wouldn't necessarily book a trip to Ireland right now. So I was like, okay, we're not going to go to Ireland. Let's go somewhere else. So I looked at Langkawi Island in Malaysia. I haven't been there since 2001. I looked at the Serengeti. I looked at Europe, and no matter where I looked, it was all booked. And then I thought, what if? Maybe. And so then I looked at Tel Aviv, and sure enough, we could get into the exact same hotel that's on my vision board. And not only that, the hotel room we have is the exact view that's on my vision board. How crazy is that, right? And so all of these things, the vision boards, the crystals, all of it, those aren't the law of attraction. You don't even need those things. Those are just merely anchors. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a certified neurolinguistic coach, neurolinguistic programming coach. And so an anchor in NLP is just something that helps us anchor to a really good emotion of some sort. And so how many of you have ever listened to a piece of music? And when you listen to that piece of music, it gets you super excited. For me, one of those pieces of music is Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It. I love that song. And in fact, when I walk out on stage, probably 90% of the time, I walk out to that song. This is how we do it. I've met Montel. I've done speaking events with Montel. I just found out yesterday, actually, for people coming to only 4 days, he is actually speaking and performing at my church. And whoever wants to come with me, we're going to go and we're going to physically meet Montel Jordan. Because he elicits such a happy feeling for me, it's just constantly, this will be the 3rd time in the last 24 months that I've either been at an event with him or met him or something, right? And so things like that, anything we attach that positive emotion to is going to be a catalyst to start the law of attraction. And so let's talk about how you can use the law of attraction. Hi, Melinda. It's great to see you. And Amy and Sharon. Hey, Delisa. I love you so much. And Kim, amazing, amazing. So where did it come from? So I thought this is Holy Week. And I thought, what a perfect time for us to talk about the law of attraction. So the law of attraction is something that's thousands of years old. It was written about in the Bible. It doesn't matter, if you're a Christian or you're not sure what you believe, but let's all agree that the Bible is, a pretty old book. So in the book of Mark 11, 22 to 26, it says this: whatever you shall ask for and pray on and believe, you will have. If you say to this mountain, be removed into the sea, it will be removed into the sea. So what does that really mean? It says whatever, think about it, written over 2,000 years ago. If you want something, you can get it. And it's so powerful that even if you say to an entire mountain, move, the mountain will move. Now, it does go on to say that in order to get what you want, you first have to forgive anyone you have a grudge against. And I'm going to talk about that when I tell you just in a moment the 5 things you need to do to enact the law of attraction. It also says in the book of Matthew, whatever you shall ask you will find. So seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be open to you. And what does that really mean? That whatever you're putting your attention on, you're putting your intentions on. So if I put my attention on love and prosperity, that becomes my intention and I get more of the same. But if I wake up and I'm focused on, taking out my phone and scrolling, and then I see someone and I look on there and I'm like, I become jealous. Oh, look at her abs, or look at what she's wearing. And I begin to put my attention on negative emotions like jealousy, anger, resentment. What do you think I'm going to get? I'm going to get more jealousy, more anger, more resentment, right? When you think about those things. So when we're enacting the law of attraction, there are 5 key things we do. And I also want to give you some resources. So how many of you have seen, I know if you don't know what this is, it's a DVD, friends. It's an oldie, vintage. So how many of you have seen the Secret? So The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, this woman in Australia going through a very devastating time. Her daughter gives her this book. She's broke. She's losing her business. She's almost homeless. Her daughter gives her a book. I'm going to show you the book in a minute. It transforms her life. She's like, everyone needs to know this, and I'm going to share this with the world. And so she made a movie, The Secret. It has Jack Canfield in it. Jack endorsed my first book, Have It All Women. John Gray is in it. John also endorsed the Have It All Women. I've done speaking events with John and Jack, and I know several of the people in The Secret. So she took this book, she went and found these world experts in the law of attraction, interviewed them all, makes a movie on it, and suddenly people are like, law of attraction. Well, the book that her daughter gave her, how many of you want to know what this book is? It's this. So The Science of Getting Rich. So The Science of Getting Rich was actually written in, I believe, the 1930s by Wallace D. Wattles. And you can order it on Amazon. It's probably maybe $7. I highly recommend you read it. So Wallace D. Wattles wrote The Science of Getting Rich, which was all about the law of attraction, and he based it on the New Testament. So we have The Secret, based on this book, which was based on the New Testament. And so all roads really lead to these principles that are thousands and thousands of years old. Another person that wrote about the law of attraction was this guy, Napoleon Hill. He wrote Think and Grow Rich, and then he wrote The Magic Ladder to Success, which is also based on the law of attraction, which is based on the New Testament. And so when Jim Rohn was alive, Jim was an incredible human being. He was the person who mentored Tony Robbins. Tony went to work with Jim. I had the privilege of sharing the stage with Jim 3 occasions, including the last time he spoke live. And Jim always used to say, really and truly, if you want to become a millionaire, do 3 things. Number 1, make sure you give people more in service than you take in money. That's number 1. Number 2 is be extremely organized and, never ever start your day until you've ended your day. So always plan your day in advance. You guys have heard me talk about this before. And the 3rd thing was read the New Testament every single night. And so it's totally up to you what you choose to do. I'm just showing you where all of this stuff came from. And anyone who's talking about the law of attraction today, it all stems from those places. So how do you enact the law of attraction? Well, I've got 5 steps for you. The first thing is really and truly being clear on what it is you want. And sometimes life can throw you some curves. Maybe your relationship begins to fall down, or a business goes sideways, or you lose your job, or a loved one gets sick. And it's very easy in those times to take your focus off what you want. And that's why I said things like vision boards, all they do is help us anchor. It's not the magazines you cut out that make you get those things. It's your attention and the emotions you put on those things. And what is at the forefront of your mind is at the forefront of your actions, right? So having that clarity. I have a client. I do not take personal coaching clients. This person came to me. I love her dearly. Was a referral. And, I just said, okay, I'm going to make an exception. I'm going to do it. For people to coach with me, I have so much going on in my life. I did coach for a long time, but I don't do it anymore. But this was like by referral. it was, I did. Anyway, so in the first session, I had her write out 200 life goals, and she was like, 200 goals. Oh my goodness. But I said, listen, when you start to expand yourself and writing goals, that many goals, and I had her write them as though she was a little child. Then I had her write them as though she was a teenager, and had her write them as though she is an adult, as she is now. As you begin to expand your mind and write that many goals, you start to think about things you weren't even aware you wanted. And so she told me in our last session, she said, Susan, a lot of these have already started to come true. And Mark Victor Hansen, who's co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, he used to say, I know Mark, he's a super guy. Mark used to say, if you write 100 goals down within the next 48 hours, almost 10 of them of the 100 will start to be on their way to coming true. And so often we get so ensconced with life and looking at other people's perfect social media lives, we forget to really focus on what it is we want at our core. So that's the first thing, is becoming really clear. The second thing is anchoring yourself in a positive emotion. If you say, well, I want this house, but you want it from a place of jealousy because your sister just got a new house and you're jealous of her, or you do it in a place of anxiety and fear, you're not going to get it. It has to be a positive emotion: love, fulfillment, joy, contribution, compassion, all of those things. So if you want that new house, why do you want it? So thinking about that, and thinking about the last time you achieved something, anything in your life, that last time you achieved it, chances are, no matter what the emotion was, the reason you achieved it is because at the core there was love. So I'm going to tell the story, since it's the 6th anniversary of the Boston Marathon. I showed, if you just joined, this is the 2013 Boston medal. So I was there. That was the year of the bombing. And I'll tell you a quick story about the law of attraction and how it relates to that. So I was diagnosed with progressive multiple sclerosis back in the year 2000, and I was 27 years old. And after the doctor diagnosed me, he said, Susan, you're going to be in a wheelchair in 10 years and dead in 20. And I was very symptomatic at the time. I was slurring my speech. I was dropping things. I was also a young mom, and I was also a professional athlete. And so after the shock wore off and the anger and the disappointment, the first thing I thought was, I haven't run the Boston Marathon yet. And so even despite the fact that I had a lot of numbness and tingling in my arms and my legs, even despite the fact that I was really fatigued, I was having a lot of neuropathy, I kept thinking about the Boston Marathon with such love. And I had these two friends, Jackie and Judy, and they were both nurses, amazing gals who lived in the small town I was living in, and they were training for a marathon. And they said, hey, Susan, do you want to train with us? And my first thought was, I have progressive MS. And then my second thought was, screw progressive MS, I'm going to train for this marathon. So I started running with the girls. And the first marathon I did, I missed qualifying for Boston by 5 minutes. And finally, I was like, no, I'm going to qualify for Boston. And so I would read anything I could about the Boston Marathon. I subscribed to Runner's World again. I envisioned myself crossing that line, getting the finisher's medal. I envisioned myself being able to run the whole race, even despite the MS. And in 2007, I ran my first Boston Marathon. And I ran it again in 2011. I had a baby in 2009, 2011, 2012, and 2013. And in 2013, I envisioned crossing the finish line at 3:35 so that I could re-qualify for the 2014 Boston Marathon because it's time related. And on the day of the 2013 Boston Marathon, I crossed the finish line at 3:35. And we all know what happened after that with regard to the bombing, and and people lost their lives and lost limbs, and it was a horrible day. A lot of the families from Sandy Hook, the school where the shooter was, the previous year were there, and it was a horrific day. And you can say, well, Susan, if the law of attraction is so powerful, why do bad things happen? I can't tell you the answer for that, but I can tell you that every good thing that's happened in my life or my client's life is because they've attached a positive emotion to something they really, really wanted. That's the one thing I can tell you. So if there's something you really want, and I want you to think very deeply about what it is, figure out the positive emotions around it. The third thing is give out what you want to receive. And so there are people in life who are takers, and they take more in value than they actually give in value. And you want to be a person that contributes more in value than you ask in return. People could come to these Bulletproof Mondays every Monday for the next 5 years and never buy something from me, never work with me. I'm totally cool with that, as long as you take what it is you learned and go out and apply it and do something good with it. It doesn't matter to me. So these Mondays are my way of giving more in value than I expect in return. So thinking about that, if you want something in your life that, you want more love, then go out and be more loving. I saw someone had posted, I can't stand when people say, I love you so much. And I'm like, well, wouldn't the world be a better place if we all did love each other more, really? So I am the person that I want to receive love. I give a lot of love out. If you want more abundance, maybe you can't give money, go give of your time, go contribute, send someone a text and just say, hey, I'm thinking of you, or write a handwritten note. And I can promise you that any time in my life where I've ever received surprise checks in the mail, this happened to me. I was telling the story last week where I helped a person who was homeless, and I came home from that business trip and there was a surprise check for $1,000 on my desk. I didn't expect it, and it was from something that happened 2 years ago. I mean, really, it was like unbelievable. I had been rear-ended, and I was just at a stoplight. I had been rear-ended. The insurance claim was done. Everything was done. And I came home from this business trip. There's a check, and they said, we're sorry, actually, you should have received more money. Here's some extra money. I mean, how often does that happen, right? So think about very deeply what it is you want to receive and really contribute. And that's where in books like this, and I do highly recommend you all read it, The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wattles, because it's not just about physical money, it's about just abundance in life. This is one of the things he talks about, is just being that person. Napoleon Hill spoke about it too, giving more in value, contributing. And at the end of the day, you want to have your head hit the pillow and go, I made someone's life better. I lifted someone up. I made them feel better about themselves. I had some internet issues here at the office today, and so I had to call Cox Communications because my internet, I have business internet, it's been sketchy, on, off, up, down, speeding is low. And I called and I said to the guy, I said, listen, I have to call and tell you what's going on with my internet. And I just want to tell you, his name was Ben. Shouts out to you, Ben. I said, Ben, none of this is your fault, and I'm upset about the internet service, but please don't take it personally, and I hope you can help me. He stayed on the phone with me longer than any Cox tech support had ever. I've requested 3 times for someone to come out and check it. None of the previous service reps had gotten an appointment for me. He got an appointment for me. He was amazing. And I really feel that if I had gone into that call, been like, this is going on, that's going on, it would have been a different outcome. So my goal, whether someone's a telemarketer or someone who's on the receiving end of a call like I did with Cox, I always want to make that person feel better. And as you decide, and it's a conscious decision, if you decide to become a person like that, I promise you your life is going to change. The fourth thing is staying in the positive state. Now, this is a tough one. Thanks, Brian, for saying that. This is a really tough one, staying positive. So I challenged myself on April 1st to be more positive this month and do 100 items of gratitude and love every day. Not my usual 10, but 100. And believe me, it's interesting because there can't be any testimony without a test. You've heard that one. And there's always a mess in the message. Those are 2 personal development sayings. And so I start out April, I'm like, I'm going to be more loving. I'm going to be more compassionate, and then something happens, right? I'm like, oh, okay, here's the test. So one of the things, staying in a positive state is this. It all comes down to this. Appreciation neutralizes any and all anxiety. Because you can't be deeply appreciative and deeply grateful and also have a ton of anxiety. So one of the fastest ways to turn things around, no matter what's happening, is focus on what you can be grateful for, what you can love. And you know, this morning I was running and I'm like, okay, I love that it's 76 degrees outside right now. It's a beautiful day. I love that I'm running with my husband. I love, and you may say, Susan, this stuff is so cheesy. I'll tell you, since I've decided to be more loving, more compassionate, more grateful, and I was those things, but I decided to 10x it for this whole month. I've seen changes in my marriage. I've seen changes in the relationships with my children. I've seen, like, as I said, surprise checks coming in the mail, clients coming out of nowhere, offers coming out of nowhere. And you know, not all of the situations where I'm expressing gratitude are easy situations, I will tell you, but that's, you know, one of the fastest ways to activate the law of attraction is just be more grateful, more appreciative. It's not easy, it's tough, but you know, I challenge you to do it. The last thing is, so staying in that positive state is you're focused on what you want, you've attached a positive emotion, you are deciding to give out more in value than you want to receive. You're staying in a positive state, and that includes being grateful. And the last part of this is to really focus on progress. So in the movie The Secret, she spoke about attracting this really unusual feather and attracting these different things, and that's all well and good. Unfortunately, with the law of attraction, the bigger the thing we want, sometimes we have to understand there are smaller steps to get us to that place, right? Just nod your head if you agree. So if Corey says, you know what, I want $1 million year, but the most Corey's ever made is $100,000. You know, maybe Corey's sitting there going, okay, where's my God? Where's my $1 million check? But you know, as Corey maybe increases income, maybe it's 10% one month, it's 20% the next month. It's about focusing on the progress. And that is the last thing. Just again, shout out, Wallace D. Wattles passed a long time ago, but I can't say enough about his book. This is the one thing Wallace D. Wattles says, that if you want to activate the law of attraction, you have to focus on progress. So every Sunday I sit down with a notebook and I write out the progress. And sometimes it's not, some of you guys would go, Susan, you seriously, you're calling that progress? You know, and it might be that I had 4 nights where I got 7.5 hours of sleep, you know, as opposed to 7. It might be that my weekly income was up 10% over the, you know, 4 weeks ago, or 5%. It's not huge. It might be that, you know, I told my husband I loved him every day for 7 days. But I promise you that as you focus, what you focus on expands. And if you can focus on a little bit of progress, you're going to get a whole lot of progress. So my wish for all of you, if you are celebrating Holy Week this week and Easter, I just want to say happy Easter. Remember why you're celebrating. If you are in a situation right now where, you know, you just needed this today, maybe you're going through a tough time, maybe you're feeling like things are spiraling a little bit. My hope is that, and prayer is that you use these 5 steps to really take your life to a whole new level. Because here's what I honestly believe. I believe that we're all destined to be better people than, you know, we have been in the past. I believe we're all capable of contribution and upliftment and taking our results to the next level. I think when we end up in those dark places and we're focused too much on ourselves, that's always the best time to activate things like the law of attraction and really turn things around. So with that, I just want to say God bless. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your week. If you have an idea for a weekly Bulletproof, just go to susansly.com. Just give me a chat there. Let me know what it is. And I do entertain all of the suggestions. I will go in and respond to all of your comments, unless you are trolling, in which case I will not respond to them. I do, you know, sometimes someone last week said you didn't respond in real time. When I'm focused or if I'm reading from the notes and giving you guys the goods, I don't see all the chats because they happen super fast, but I will go in after and respond to you. So with that, God bless. Have an amazing week. If you're interested in working with me and all of the incredible trainers in only 4 days, check it out, only4days.com. And with that, take care. God bless. And I'll see you next Monday. Goodbye, everyone.